Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we have a ton to get through. A lot in the travel space. We have a new travel card from our friends at Cardless. We're checking in with Southwest and their loyalty program, getting some tweaks that actually don't look half bad. We're talking about United and the travel bank. We'll take a look at Delta and how they actually prioritize you getting those potential upgraded seats that we've been chasing with all that spend as of late. Of course, we will close with more quotes, we'll call them, throughout the Apple and Goldman Sachs saga as they continue to look like they're going to break up. So, of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with Cardless. And if you don't remember, Cardless is a company that specializes in making co-branded cards for companies that don't currently have co-branded cards. Hence, Cardless. Actually, not a bad name. So, we've covered them before, but this time they have a new credit card partnership. This is the Tap Miles and Go card. This is with Air Portugal, so could be worth it for some of you guys who really get exotic on your travels, I guess. So, here you have it. Overall, fun design, I guess, but you have an annual fee of $79. Multipliers, you're looking at 3x back on Tap Air Portugal purchases, 2x back on hotels, car rentals, and rideshare services, 1 back on all other purchases. Your benefits here, you get preferred boarding, 2 passes per year for the Tap Premium Lounge at Lisbon Airport, extra check bag twice per year. For every 5 miles earned on the card, you earn 1 status mile, up to $10,000 a year, and then of course there are no foreign transaction fees. Now again, yes, it might not surprise you, I don't know a whole lot about this airline. The card itself seems okay. I mean, for the annual fee, I feel like you should just have a permanent check bag. You should always get that check bag. It shouldn't just be capped. The lounge passes, I don't know if anyone's ever been in the lounge, let us know. But I feel like it's okay, definitely for year number 1. If you want to grab some extra points, so be it. It just seems a little bit steep with some of those perks being limited given the fee that they're charging. So, of course, that is a new option and available to you if you're interested. Now, if you prefer our tried and true airlines, well, then that's what we have next for the next few stories. Now we are checking in with Southwest. All the news has been on Delta, and of course we will get to Delta because we can't go a weekend without talking about Delta. But first, Southwest also wants to be in the news making some changes. So they had a press release covering the most recent changes to their Southwest Rapid Rewards program. So of course, here is the press release. They've got 5 points. Now all of these are going to start in January 1st of 2024. So earn A-list status faster. Starting again, as we said, in January, Southwest Rapid Rewards members only need to fly 21-way qualifying flights. Previously, it was 25, or earn 35,000 tier qualifying points to reach A-list status. The second line, again, earn A-list preferred status faster. So I guess there's 2 different tiers. So again, this one's going down as well, going down by 10 flights. You can earn tier qualifying points faster with Southwest Rapid Rewards credit cards from Chase. As you would imagine, pushing the credit cards, card members will receive 1,500 tier qualifying points for every $5,000 spent. Previously, it was 10,000, so that is quite the improvement. New perk alert, shout out, complimentary premium drinks for A-list preferred status starting November 6th, so pretty close. You don't even have to wait to get lit on your next flight. You can do it like next week. Redeem cash plus points. Also coming in the spring of 2024, Rapid Rewards members will have the option to pay for their flight with a combination of cash and points, starting for as few as 1,000 points. So overall, I mean, it's rare that we see an airline program that just makes solid changes, and I don't really mess too much with Southwest. It's nothing against them, just haven't really gotten into it, but all these changes seem fine, which is somewhat shocking and a little refreshing, so good for Southwest. If you're a big Southwest fan, let us know down below. I do think, again, this kind of does we are seeing a little bit of a shift where, like, hey, these companies really just want you to spend money, right? And that's bringing in the credit card component, which, again, it's weird that they, cut the spend in half a little bit. But overall, not too bad on the statuses there, the changes, I should say. So moving on to another change that is, I believe, positive is with United. So United has this thing called the Travel Bank. And basically why you would know about it or why you would like it is because for the longest time it was a way to use your Amex Platinum airline incidental credit to basically buy, I'll call them points or certificates for this travel bank with United that could then be used later on flights. Because again, the Platinum airline incidental credit is not available to be used directly for flight purchases, which is what most people want to do with it. So people would load up their United Travel Bank and this would work. Well, now there's a little bit of a minor update to this, because if we look at it, United is now letting you not so much gift, but purchase travel bank. I'm going to call them travel bank points for other people, which is a nice touch. So if you're trying to get, pool all the travel bank's credits into one account, something like that, you can do it. If you legitimately want to gift it to someone, you can do that. It just gives you like another option, to use this credit, which is nice because, again, most people want to find the workaround around this. So just a quick, nice touch there. Now, going back to Delta, I did find this interesting. Some of you may have already known this, but 1 Mile at a Time did post the chart that Delta's going to use starting next year to figure out how they prioritize who gets upgraded to what seat when upgrades are available. Again, Delta's been in the news quite a bit for changing around their statuses, again, putting a lot of emphasis on how much you spend and all that good stuff. And, airline status is harder to get, but then some people kind of debate, is it even worth it? Because again, you're just kind of competing for, a few seats in the front, potentially, assuming those haven't been sold already. So, this could, I think looking up this could maybe help you figure out if, making that extra push for chasing a Delta status is worth it or not. So put it on screen for you. And I found it interesting. So this is their upgrade chart on what they're going to look at. So first of all, of course, it's a medallion status. And then they go to the priority order. They go to cabin purchased original plus paid upgrade. So you're looking at how much money you gave them first. Million miler status as well. If you're a million miler, going to come into effect. Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card member. So it is important to note that is the purple one. So if you've got the gold or platinum, they don't care about that. You need to have the purple one, the $550 one, and that will come into play as well. Delta corporate travelers, got to make those big companies happy. Medallion qualifying dollars makes a return MQDs earned in the current calendar year and date and time of upgrade request. So overall, again, not the craziest thing in the world, but as someone who's not even ever close to ever getting an upgrade, it's not going to happen by any means. It is interesting to see, and again, we can see they are still, they're prioritizing basically money, right? Because a lot of that is if you're million miler or your corporate account where you've given us a lot of money, you'll probably continue to give us a lot of money, or they're prioritizing having the credit card and spend and what have you. So again, we can just see the shift to they really just want to make more money from you, and it's almost less about what type of seat or how much you fly, just more so the amount of money. So I found that interesting. Again, you can kind of look at that. At least now you'll know. Basically, you'll be able to help tell where you stand at potentially when it comes to those upgrades. Now, speaking of American Express, just a fun little note here. If you're an American Express Platinum card holder, keep a lookout because American Express is sending out their random gifts. Every so often, they do appreciation gifts for folks, for card members. So the Deal Guru posted this, and you can see American Express gifts. This time is early. He posted this on October 24th. Some Platinum card holders are receiving a $250 Peter Thomas Roth jewelry gift card this week. You can see what it looks like. Apparently, it's coming in the mail. So there is that. Keep your eye out for it. I don't know how much that helps you, but, I guess it's nice. Thanks for your $700. Sorry you can't get in the lounge in limited times, but here, have a gift card. That makes life better. Sure. So, there you go. Now, our last story, not out of the travel space officially and into my space, the Apple space, if you will. Again, we've talked at length here about the Apple-Goldman Sachs relationship, about how Goldman Sachs wants out of that partnership, basically because Apple is kind of untenable to work with probably, which probably doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. So the Wall Street Journal and 9 to 5 Mac did get some fun quotes from the brain trust, if you will, of Goldman Sachs. So let's take a look at this and we'll talk about it a little bit more just for fun. So first quote here is, when Goldman Sachs and Apple launched their joint savings account in April, Goldman had held a town hall at its headquarters. Who doesn't love a good employee town hall? Where bank executives talked it up. One executive had a different message shortly afterwards. We should have never done this blank thing, Goldman partner told colleagues, of course referring to the whole partnership overall. Now, in addition to that, Goldman employees working on the Apple partnership have floated other options, including letting Apple take over a bigger piece of the partnership. According to people familiar with the matter, for example, one idea proposed that Apple could become the lender for new credit card spending and issuances, with Goldman continuing to manage the existing loans. So, that is an interesting suggestion to float out. Would Apple actually be willing to take over the lending piece? I doubt it. I mean, if they wanted to, they probably would have done it by now. At one point, I thought, they would. But again, the point of these partnerships is to push the headache off on an actual bank who can handle the regulatory stuff and supposedly built to do this stuff. This is one of those times where I think Apple may have just overplayed their hand. And we've talked about it before, but again, it's very reminiscent of, the first iPhone and them trying to work with Verizon initially before it ended up with Singular, who then became AT&T. You got the biggest telecom, and they weren't a $1 trillion company at the time, Apple, but they were definitely on the way back up. But I don't, if I'm Verizon, not really interested in you telling me how to sell phones. I know how to move phones, and then they just kind of go their separate ways. But this time, we know a lot of banks that did look at Apple originally, and they kind of passed on it. We can see why. There's a lot of stuff in there that, you just wouldn't normally do, like having every bill due on the first of the month and billing cycle be the full month makes a lot of sense from the customer standpoint. But as a bank, you want to always have things staggered out. So you always have money coming in, you always have money going out. You don't want everyone to start owing you on the first day. It's not really good. Plus, when people do have questions and call to complain, there's going to be a massive surge of incoming calls, in the beginning. Again, lending to a lot of different people who they normally wouldn't is coming back. So I think Apple's kind of messed up here a little bit. And at this point, they may actually, if they don't want to do it themselves, they may actually need to kind of dial back the contract a little bit to make it more Goldman friendly, at least more tenable. Luckily, I believe they have to sign off on any change before their portfolio can be moved. Of course, there's the MasterCard component as well. But at this point, I don't really know who would take it. Again, I think a while back we had a list of folks who might. I said Chase could potentially, but again, if you look at the Chase cards, all the non-travel co-branded cards, Amazon, DoorDash, Instacart, they all have like 5x Chase travel on them to start building in that cross-sell play. You can apply for all of them through the Chase website, and Apple's big thing is, privacy, not sharing customer data. So I think without that component, I don't think that they'd be interested. Could they handle, the Apple Card and all its customers? Yeah, sure, but there's no way to sell them to other Chase products. I don't think they're interested. Capital One could be a potential suitor. Again, they're pretty good at the subprime deal, but if I'm Capital One, I'm doing pretty good on the Venture X and Venture X business. We think they're going to nerf those anyways. Would I even want to bother with the headache? So I don't know at this point where they're going to go unless they're going to do it themselves. Who would take them versus who would they also want? Because, you can't be the Apple Card to end up with like Synchrony Bank. Like that would be just an embarrassment. Really, I think you got to come back and make some concessions. You might have overplayed your hand a little bit. Yes, you had the power to, but just because you have the power to do something doesn't necessarily mean you always should. I think they might have went a little bit too far this time. So that's my thoughts as an Apple fanboy. But of course, let me know what you think down below. Again, as this story keeps coming up, and we will keep an eye on it as they keep maybe moving to a resolution of some sort. But anyways, guys, that has been the news this week. So if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, we're posting content just like this every single week and right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com, the channel's blog, where we not only have the latest news stories just like this, we have bank promotions, and we have credit card offers. So if you're looking for something a little more edge than the Apple Card, go ahead, take a look at the inventory. Hopefully we have something that might catch your eye, like all those elevated Chase offers that are going on right now. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon this week.